everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Aziel. She's our esthetician at The Things We Do, and we are finally doing this video. I know so many of you guys have had questions about becoming an esthetician, how that leads into becoming an aesthetic nurse, what are the differences, what's the path, yada yada yada, all that stuff. I don't have the answers, so I asked Ozzy to come on like 3 months ago?
Yeah, something like that.
3 months ago. So finally, between work and babies and life, we decided to film this video for you guys. So let's get started. Okay, so with this video, I pretty much looked through comments and I saw what kind of questions you guys were asking. A lot of it was similar questions, but I wrote them down and I'm gonna have Ozzy just kind of glaze over them and she's gonna answer them for you guys. And if you guys do have any questions that we didn't answer or any questions that pop up while you're watching this video, just ask below and we'll take care of it for you. And let's take a look. So Ozzy,
okay, yes.
First of all, let's start with, what is an esthetician? Simple, right? Let's get to it.
So an esthetician is somebody who does cosmetic treatments to a person's skin, basically.
So what Ozzy does at The Things We Do is she is our lead esthetician. So she sees patients throughout the day who have various skin problems, and she will do a customized facial on them, and then she will also give them skincare recommendations, even like dietary recommendations and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And she's part therapist because she listens to what's going on, because stress also plays a role in how our skin reacts. So she has an umbrella over her of a bunch of things that she does. So that's our little skin witch right here. Okay, so this is kind of like a few questions in one. So basically, what is the type of schooling to become an esthetician? How long does it take? And then like the difference in schools, if you know, or like what school you went to, and talk about your path a little bit.
Okay, so it takes about, in California, about 600 hours. So it's not a very long time. It's just about like dedicating yourself, of course. The difference with schools, honestly, like if I had known, I would not have gone the private school route. You essentially go to beauty school, right? So it's kind of like, you know, what a cosmetologist, like the kind of school that they would go to, except we focus mainly on skin, waxing, makeup application. What else?
You learn all that stuff? You learn how to do all that stuff?
Yeah.
So how long did the 600 hours take you?
For me, it took me like a little bit less than a year, because I was going part-time, like because I worked during the day and then I went to school at night. Okay. So then, yeah, it was like a little bit less than a year.
And then what school did you go to?
Oh, I went to Maranello School of Beauty.
I think everyone knows Maranello.
Everybody knows of Maranello, but they are now defunct. Just, I don't know, they had some like drama.
Oh.
They don't, I think they were something about like government funding and I don't know. They were like a private education. It was pretty pricey though. It's pretty expensive. I want to say, like, I can't remember the exact number, but it was maybe like 15 to 20,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah, something like that.
And that's for like for the full 600 hours.
Yeah.
And then you take an exam.
Yeah, and then they get you ready for taking the state exam. So you're going to be licensed through the state to be able to perform these kind of like treatments on people.
So talk to us a little bit about like your path after you were done with school. How did you find a job? What tips do you think you would give anyone out there who's starting out? Because I feel like our field of like self-care is so, I don't want to use the word saturated, but I feel like it's a hot commodity right now. Everyone's into self-care. Everyone wants to take care of themselves. And then I think the people on the outside are learning that, okay, this is a very nice job I can have where maybe I can like make my own schedule and I don't have to work like the typical 9 to 5. So talk about kind of like your path, Ozzy.
Okay, so it's kind of like when people were, you know, really getting into makeup and hair, right? And then it just kind of became oversaturated. And I feel like it just moves over into different fields, right? Over time. But for me, I went to school, and then when I was at school, they have like recruiters for different jobs and they have job postings there. Like some schools will help you find a job. Nice. Which is great. And so I basically applied for one of my friends. She let me know that Burke Williams Day Spa was hiring, and so I applied while I was still like when I was finishing up with school. And so I had my phone interview first and then face-to-face. So it was a pretty lengthy process just because it is a pretty corporate, like it's one of the biggest day spas in California. So phone interview, face-to-face, and then she said, okay, well, once you actually do get licensed, give me a call, and then we can do the practical interview, which is hands-on. And so from there, it just kind of snowballed, and I was able to get a job out of school pretty easily. And the thing with the bigger companies is they want somebody who's real fresh, so then they can kind of mold you and like, you know, make you into their ideal employee, basically.
Yeah, versus if you learn stuff, or if you come with like 10, 15 years experience, you already learn stuff, and then it's kind of hard to like break bad habits. Whether they're bad habits or not, it's kind of it's hard to break habits, so that makes a lot of sense. And then after you worked at Burke Williams, did you come to Things We Do after that?
No, I was at Burke Williams, and then I worked for this small aesthetic,
like a spa kind of thing?
Yeah, it wasn't quite a spa, but it was like, it's an advanced aesthetic studio, skin studio. Wow, I could not say that. Advanced aesthetic skin studio in Beverly Hills. And I only did that for maybe like 6 months or so because I was living kind of far. In Beverly Hills, if you know, it's like there's no freeways around. It's so hard to get to, and I just was like over it. And like people there, they're cool, and you know they'll spend money. Oh, should I even say that?
Yeah, of course.
Oh my gosh! But you know, it is just a different world over there.
Yeah. And then I bet like everyone wonders about money in like all fields. I think it's important because nowadays you can't, especially if you're like have your own place, you have to pay rent, you have kids, you got to know how much am I going to make if I make the dive into this career. And there's not a lot of stuff out there. I'm going to be honest, I don't think is it not Indeed, but there's this one website that like says like the range of how much people make. I think it's nonsense. I don't think it's true. So to know that like basically know the takeaway from this is like where you work plays a huge role in your compensation, 100%. And then your experience with any field, my field or Ozzy's field, your experience plays a huge role in compensation. Don't lowball yourself, but also be fair to knowing, okay, your audience around you and where you're working. Know that, okay, this is what I should be getting paid. And then always when you're interviewing, I think it's important to just, you know, make it very clear that like you want to work your way up, because that's how you're going to make money, you know. So definitely it's okay to talk about money. And I'm sure working in Beverly Hills,
cream
of the crop there. So another one of the questions, so this is a question actually I didn't even know the answer to. So basically, what is the difference between an esthetician versus a medical esthetician?
In terms of licensure, there is no difference in the state of California. So when you call yourself a medical esthetician, it's just in the field that you decide to work in. So if you're working in a med spa, then you would be considered a medical esthetician.
Okay, so that is the difference, you guys. Now, again, this is in California. I don't know about other fields. The great thing about this channel is we have so many followers from so many other states. So if you guys know anything different, please comment below. I think this is like a beautiful network of people helping each other, right? Okay, so this is kind of, this I might answer, but you have, if you have any, let me know. Can you be both a nurse and an esthetician? Yes. Now, I think the confusion is you don't need to be a nurse to become an esthetician. You don't need to become an esthetician to become a nurse. You need to kind of pick what you want to do in terms of what I do as an aesthetic nurse. I'm a registered nurse baseline, right? And then I have experience in the aesthetic field. So what I can do is all the more invasive, non-invasive, in a sense that like a needle, breaking skin, doing microneedling. I have no experience doing facials. I don't know how to do extractions. I don't know how to do anything properly. So that's what an esthetician would do. So you don't need one to do the other. It's more like just which one do you want to do? Right, Ozzy? Yeah,
it is. It's so, I mean, in California anyways, there are strict regulations that we have to follow. So if you really love skin and you love to transform people's lives, honestly, like being an esthetician is very rewarding, but there's a limit as to like what we can do, right? Because you also still have to be insured, and then there are things that we can't perform like under that insurance. So then if something happens, we're not going to be held liable.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you want to do more invasive treatments like microneedling, which estheticians cannot perform legally here in California, we cannot break the skin. Basically, we are only working with the epidermis, which is that surface level of skin. Peels, we can do peels, but we can only go up to a mid-depth peel.
Okay.
So it's not very deep, but you can still transform skin. You can still make these great changes in being an esthetician.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. That's like so well said, honestly,
Okay,
because I think there is a lot of like gray area. It always comes back to what I tell you guys. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something.
Exactly.
Like, I can probably do a facial. I can probably do a facial, but should I be doing it? Do I know how to do it? Absolutely not. So just because, you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. So in California, or actually I think every state, we have like our board, right? The BRN, the Board of Registered Nursing. That's where I tell you guys to go check like your scope of practice in your state to see what you can and cannot do. What is it like for estheticians? If there is a website or like basically somewhere we could guide you guys to see your scope of practice as an esthetician.
Yeah, so that would be the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology.
Okay, so you can go on that website and you can pretty much check the scope of practice for an esthetician. And is that for California or like all the states?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's all the states, but each state has their own, each state has different regulations. So here, starting in January, estheticians can legally perform dermaplaning and like lash lifts and tints and lamination.
God, yes.
And using Lancet. So it is very exciting. It's very exciting.
You'll be able to dermaplane me?
Yeah,
so I have to do it on myself.
Legally.
Legally. Again, if I want to be an aesthetic nurse, so I go to esthetician school. You don't need to go to esthetician school to become an aesthetic nurse. You need to go to nursing school. To do what I do, there is no shortcut. Nursing school is the easiest. I know that it's not easy, but it's the only way, other than if you want to go to doctor school, if you want to be an MD, right? Okay, so is it better to be an aesthetic nurse or an esthetician?
I mean, honestly, it depends, right? Yeah. It depends on like really what you want to do. I feel like if you want to have a broader range of like what you can perform, being a nurse is the best thing.
But if you're not into the world of like Botox and fillers and things of that nature, like with some people don't like needles. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So I would say that is a very subjective question. You have to really think about what your goal is with your career in life. These are two excellent career choices. They're a hot commodity right now. There's so much you can do. You can not only do these treatments in office, but you can also be an educator. There's so much we can do in either field. But you have to really think about, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to do the Botox, the fillers, the more invasive stuff with the needle, that kind of stuff? Or do I really want to just focus on skin? And I have a love for skin and I have a love for skincare products. I rely heavily on Aziel in office when it comes to a lot of skin stuff because, to be honest, you guys, it's something I'm learning every day. It's really hard to learn that kind of stuff because in nursing school, they only teach you like the layers of skin and that's it. But as far as ingredients and stuff like that, I rely on her. So you have to think about what your passion is, what you really feel like you can excel in, and then just go that route. I promise it's not going to be the wrong way. You know what I mean? Just kind of follow your heart. Mm-hmm. That sounded cheesy.
It's so true.
Exactly. Do you guys have to have insurance?
Yeah. So you do have to be insured. Because if something happens and somebody's going to sue you, like, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Oh, can I say that?
I think you can. Okay. I said it once. It's okay. Okay, so this is a really good question because it's so, like, everyone wonders this, right? Can you own your own business as an esthetician?
Oh, definitely. Oh my gosh. So that's actually how I started working for the things we do with Vanessa, is because she came into my skin studio and I had been open for maybe like 3 or 4 months, and she came in and she's like asking me all these questions. I was so excited to meet her, by the way. I was so nervous. nervous.
That's how it always is with her.
Yeah. But it ended up being great. And she was, by the end of it, she asked me, would you want to come work for me? And I was like, I was dying. I thought that it was such an amazing opportunity. Yeah. And of course I wanted to grow my thing, but I just couldn't pass that up. I couldn't.
It's hard because you have to think, and this is for people in my field too. So as a registered nurse, I have to have a medical director. We have to fall under the scope of practice for like a medical director. They have to oversee us. Nurse practitioners as well. That might change in California, but I don't know yet. But you have to think like, owning your own business is really hard.
It's hard. It's really hard.
You have to pretty much, you can't look at it like, oh, you make more money. Absolutely not. Yes, you take all the profit, but then you're the one who's responsible for buying all the products, paying rent in your studio, paying yourself, right? There is so much more that goes into it. You're also not going to be just an esthetician there. You're admin. You're doing administrative stuff.
Marketing.
Yes, marketing. You play all these different roles. So think about it this way. You have to, in a normal office, you'd pay people for that. People get paid like a salary for that. Are you going to be able to pay yourself a salary for doing all that stuff? Probably not in the first year or so. So it's really hard. People get burnt out really easily because they just want to open their own business and like they think it's the easy thing to do. No, it really isn't. Also, I've seen this a lot in my field where, again, a lot of nurses are just like, I want to open my own business. And then they go ahead and they do it. And then their growth really stops. Because what happens when you work in an office is like, you're kind of kept on your toes, because it doesn't matter that I have 6+ years experience and some of the girls have 2 years experience. They can be a little sharper at some things. And then I'm forced to be like, okay, let me be open to learning this technique, or let's go to like a class together, or let's go to this conference together. So there's so much more room for growth. We all learn from one another. I'm sure it's the same with you and like the other estheticians.
Oh, definitely. The thing is too, when you come out of school, you think, oh my gosh, I know so much. And like now you do, right? You've learned all these things, you're licensed. But I think even going into any job or even just working for yourself, you have to understand that you don't know everything. And I think, that's like one of the best things about working with other people is that you can learn from each other and grow.
Because if you just work in like your own, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I'm just saying you have to think about it this way. If you work in your own studio, if you own your own med spa, and you're the only person there, you get really comfortable with being the only person there. It
can be lonely sometimes.
It's really lonely, and I've done it before. I worked at a doctor's office in Palmdale. I was the only one there. I'll tell you right off the bat, I didn't want to go to any conferences. I didn't want to go to any classes because I got really comfortable just working by myself. No one questioning what I did, in a sense of like, hey, Janet, have you heard of this technique? Nothing like that. And then I told myself, if I really want to take my career to the next level, I have to work alongside people who obviously have the same values that you do, but also who keep you on your toes and who are open to like learning new techniques and things like that. That's where true growth happens. And in my opinion, that's where true success happens. Far and few are people going to be successful when they just graduate nursing school or become an esthetician and they just kind of open up their own business. It could happen, but it's going to take a long time. And it's going to take a lot of legwork on your end. So I always tell people, just get your foot in the door anywhere, learn from the other people, grow, go to conferences together. You're gonna stand a better chance of being successful if you do it that way. Same thing with, like I said, being an esthetician. And if, I work alongside Aziel, so I learned so much from her. That's where success happens, and that's where true growth happens, like within a company. So that's my rant for that.
Oh, nice.
And I think, what Aziel said, like, you don't want to get like complacent in one place. You want, it's easy. I'm sure it was easy in a sense for you, like you made your own schedule and everything.
Yeah, I was making my own schedule, but of course it was hard because I mean, it was also pretty fresh. Like I was only open for a few months, so I didn't get to experience really what a lot of people experience in owning a business.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of dedication. It takes a lot of drive and initiative to have your own space. And so if you have that in yourself, go do it, because it is very fulfilling too.
Yeah. So just basically, as I always say, follow your heart and you'll be good. Kind of winding down here, but Ozzy, last 2 questions for you.
Okay.
So number 1, what is your favorite skincare brand or product at the moment? Like, what do you think? Especially we're in the month of November. We're filming this on November 1st. So talk to us about, like, going into winter time, what is your favorite product to use? And it could be a brand, or it could be like a specific ingredient that you think people should like incorporate into their regimen.
Okay, this is so hard because there are so many brands that I love, but one brand that I've been using a lot more of recently is Vivant Skincare.
I've heard of them.
So yeah, it's mostly a mandelic based line. They also have a lot of vitamin A products, and the person who founded the brand, he actually had a hand in forming. He had a hand in
like
making,
formulating it, like with the ingredient. Like I think they go to a lab and everything.
I'm loving their mandelic serums. I'm loving their mandelic toner and their skin nourishing toner with peptides. Peptides are very important just to keep your skin like healthy and hydrated too.
So I don't think I use enough of that.
Oh,
peptides.
really?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I feel like I need to incorporate something with.
Yeah, you should. Especially
like there's ingredients now that are like kind of like little hot topics, and I think peptides is one of them. And I thought about it last week. I was like, I don't even know what that is.
Oh, okay. I'll give you.
Okay.
Yeah. So just anything. So when it comes to winter, just anything a little bit more nourishing, depending on where you live, of course, and your skin type. But anything a little bit more hydrating to keep your skin protected, especially in the cooler months.
Perfect. I've done my Cosmelon peel, which I'm going to post the video soon. My skin is, I don't know, Ozzy, I think it's looking pretty good.
It looks great. I can't stop staring.
Every time I go into office and like Ozzy will do something on me, she'll be like, your skin is so dry. Your skin is so dehydrated. So this time I did the Cosmelon peel, and I have a facial planned with her later this week. But basically for me, it's really hard to keep my skin like hydrated, right? Like it's just so hard. So like, see, I wouldn't know any of this stuff if I didn't work with Ozzy. So now I rely on her. I lean on her to kind of give me guidance with like my skincare stuff. So yeah, that's what you guys will be if you guys plan on going to be esthetician school and become an esthetician. People are going to rely on you for skin, and that's a big thing nowadays. So Ozzy, let's finish this video with if there's one piece of advice that you, and I know this is like a very like general question, but if there's like a piece of advice you can give people who want to go to esthetician school, what would it be? Like what would you have done differently, if anything, or what would you wish Ozzy now could tell Ozzy back then?
Okay,
think about it. Honestly, think about it for a minute.
Yeah, let's think about it. You know what? I really have enjoyed the journey that I took, and I feel like since entering this field, not that it's been very smooth, because it hasn't been, but those little bumps in the road have really led me to, where I am today. And I feel like I'm pretty, I don't know, you just have to be open to like learning new things and be open to people. Also, don't be catty with people, like especially if you're in a working group environment. This industry, as like saturated as it is still pretty small. So people talk to each other. So be nice to each other. I don't know.
No, I like that. I like that because I was telling Ozzy before we started filming this video that sometimes some of the questions that I get are more like a what should I do kind of thing. Like you guys almost lean on me to help with like your path in life, and I'm honored, but that's a really big, that's a lot of pressure on me. So I think the takeaway from that is like everyone has their own path, right? So like she just mentioned, there was bumps all along her path that led her to where she is now, and she wouldn't really change anything. So I guess just trust the process, trust that whatever path you choose is going to be the path for you, and nothing in life is ever smooth sailing. If it is, that's kind of weird. Nothing in life is smooth sailing. So rest assured that your path might have some bumps along the way, but at the end of the day, it's true to you, and that's what's going to lead you to success. So I like that.
Yeah.
Ozzy. Thank you.
Oh, and in being nice to people, if you are looking for guidance, don't just right away you know, but some people will just be like, hi, you know, I'm looking into this and blah, blah, blah. They don't even ask you like, oh, how are you?
How are you doing?
Yeah.
I
like,
agree.
Yeah, just say hi. Like, how are you?
Get
sometimes
to
I don't
know
even
someone.
get a hi. Like,
I don't even get a hi sometimes either. So like when you guys like reach out to us, hi, like when I look through DMs and I see people that are like, hi Janet, I've watched your videos. I want to say thank you for taking the time to, and I'm like, okay, yes. I literally sit there and I'll be like, wow, this is a very thoughtful person because they've taken the time to acknowledge the hard work that I've put in, versus someone who's like, do you recommend I do this or this? And it's kind of like, well, that if you ask me a question like that, I'm going to give you an answer just kind of short right back at it, you know? And the same is true like in our work environment, people we meet at conferences. This is, like Ozzy said, it's a big community, but it's small. Everyone talks. So just be respectful of one another and be kind, and never trash talk other professionals in your field.
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah, just don't do it because it's everyone, that could be you in their shoes one day, you know, and you got to make sure that you're as graceful and as poised as you can be. And that's it, you guys.
Never mind.
Okay, you guys. So that was the video today. I love doing videos like this for you guys, branching out a little bit. Ozzy, thank you so much for taking the time.
This is so fun.
You guys, Ozzy doesn't like being on camera and she's so good at it. So,
I get so nervous. I'm just so awkward. I feel awkward.
Someone in one of my videos told me, like, can you stop smacking your lips? And I'm like, oh, girl, you try going on camera in front of a bunch of people. It's hard. So thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm sure, you know, my followers appreciate your expertise. If you guys don't follow Ozzy on Instagram, Ozzy, what's your Instagram handle?
At Aziel Faith.
I'll put it below in the description box. She's always posting very informative, educational topics, and then once in a while we get to see her pretty face on the camera if she allows us to. So go follow her. If you guys have any questions for her, you know, DM her. And if you guys are going to esthetician school or thinking about it, she really should be your point of contact for that. She's amazing. And yeah, you guys, that's the video for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and just like and subscribe below, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye.